All right, we're doing whiskey sours. Yeah.
Later, the recipe morphed into what used to be called a Boston sour. Now it's the standard whiskey sour recipe. And that change was that an egg white was added to the recipe.
All right.
To thicken.
You like our egg whites? So you're saying this is going to give me my protein that I need?
That's exactly right. That's why a bodybuilder bartender came along and said, "No, there's not enough protein in this drink."
Did you bring egg whites?
What'd you say?
Did you bring egg whites?
I poured it. I measured everything out this morning, but that first jar that I poured.
How was that? Oh, good. Good for you.
I'm also doing. I like rye whiskey better in whiskey sours than bourbon, so we'll have a slightly non-traditional one, but it's yummier that way, in my opinion.
Thirsty Thursdays. To like turn this so that I can. Here we go. Introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Vaki, and I will be your bartender today.
Nice.
I'm Itai. I'm not
Welcome.
a bartender.
Welcome.
You'll be
You're
the
just
bar
drinking.
patron today. Yeah.
We're
I'm
drinking.
just a patron,
Yeah.
drinking.
Okay. Now the rule is, whenever a cocktail has an egg white, you have to do what's called a dry shake, which is when you shake with no ice first. So that's what I'm doing right now.
And
And
then
this
fluff
egg
it
white
up,
also
right?
likes to, that's to fluff it up. Egg white also likes to burp a little bit. So you have to dry shake and maybe burp the shaker a little bit.
Ooh, can smell it.
Yeah, that's how you can definitely smell that rye. Alright. So now,
What's the difference between rye and like non-rye version for this?
Excellent question. What's the
For-
difference between rye and what?
Non-rye bourbon.
Rye and
So,
non-rye bourbon.
there are two kinds of American whiskey. One is bourbon, one is rye.
Oh,
So-
rye isn't even bourbon.
Bourbon is made of corn, rye is made of rye.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. So now we'll pack the full ice. Now that it's nice and fluffy.
So what is the benefit of rye? Why do you like rye more?
It has, for lack of a better term, a little more spice that I think cuts through the citrus better.
Oh, fuck it.
Like the bourbon is just a little bit, for lack of a better term, sweet, and I don't quite like that as much.
Yeah, because you already had simple syrup, right?
Yeah. All right. Got a little left over for later. And now the last little bit. I don't know when this became a thing, but
What is it?
it's a thing. Yeah, you garnish with just a teeny weeny bit of bitters on the top, just like a drop like that. I'll put a little bit more. Usually you would do this with a dropper bottle, but I don't have a dropper bottle. So
Are these the new ones that you just got?
this is the new bitters bottle that I just
Nice.
got, but it's a standard Angostura aromatic bitters. All right, gentlemen,
All
your
right.
whiskey sours are served.
And you just shoot these in, right? Or
These
is
are
this
meant usually for
for
sipping
sipping?
because of the
Oh, okay.
large volume.
All right.
but they're tasty.
Oh,
Cheers.
Give up on this.
Cheers, yeah.
Cheers. Salud.
Oh, that's sweet.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like a
All right.
it's like a
whiskey
thick,
sour.
slightly.
That is my
illuminated.
first whiskey sour.
It is an honor to have made you your first whiskey sour.
Yeah. I like it.
This is too sweet for me.
Too sweet?
Too sweet for me.
I like sweet things.
That's some
You
bitters.
like a little more bitter?
I'll take a bit more bitters. It just essentially like I don't know what it is, but with like alcohol, if it's just too sweet, I know I'm just gonna get a headache or something. Just doesn't.
Oh, that might be
sit
just
well.
more the association.
What
Maybe.
so what can you tell us about the whiskey sour? Like give us some history there.
Sure. So I don't know the dates, but I do know that the original whiskey sour was a little bit simpler than this. So first, the addition of bitters on top, I think was first introduced in order to mask the egg smell. I think that was the point. Like if you had egg whites sitting around, they maybe go a little bad at the bar, and you might be screwing your patrons a little bit by masking it with
Those are the
bitter
best
smell.
stories.
Yeah,
because,
it's
like,
good. It's good.
You know, it adds a lot now, but back in the day, people would be like, "Where is it?" Think of it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So, but as I said earlier, the egg white was added also later. Originally, the whiskey sour with an egg white was called a Boston sour, but over time, the Boston sour recipe, which is the one I just made you, became the standard recipe for a whiskey sour. Earlier, the whiskey sour was really just like lemon juice, sugar, and whiskey.
Have you tried that?
Yeah, I like the thickened texture that the egg white
Yeah,
gives.
I mean, the egg white is dope in this.
It's
just,
good. It's
very
good. It's good.
nice.
It's like a game changer. If you've had a regular whiskey sour and then you compare it to this, it's a game changer in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I
Nice.
mean, definitely. Cream is just like that creaminess is just always nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And actually,
I
remember,
like it, man. I could see like, you know, drinking 6 or 7 of these.
yeah, for sure. It's
Easily.
very easy drinking, as they say.
And also, it's like it doesn't look that hard to make compared to like some drinks, right? Like really, it was just the egg white, the lemon juice, the simple syrup, and the thing. The only real ingredient that people don't really have is like bitters.
I guess there's a lot of stuff that has a very easy recipe like that. But the one technique thing that is introduced is you have to dry shake the egg white. Otherwise, it'll be nasty if you just try to the texture will be kind of whack if you just go straight to a shake with ice.
Get some of that bitters.
Oh, there's also very frequently new cocktails are designed by taking a classic recipe, for example, the whiskey sour recipe, and swapping out an ingredient or adding an ingredient or just doing like a small tweak to kind of enhance one of the flavors or add a new one. And
What are some of those ingredients?
yeah, so one of my favorite whiskey sour riffs or variations is called an elk's own, elk as in the animal, and that is almost the same recipe except you include port, which is a sweet red wine. And I thought that sounded disgusting. Like imagine just pouring
yeah, you
wine
told me
in
about
this.
this, yeah.
But I made it for my me and my wife, and it was we were blown away. It was incredibly good. And that one's more of a wintry drink, and they garnish it with nutmeg or a cherry. It's nice.
What does a nutmeg or cherry do?
So, more generally, what do garnishes do in cocktails? So, I don't know how true this really is, but they say in the bartending world and in the culinary world that you taste first with your eyes. Like you kind of prime yourself for a good experience by seeing something nice,
Yeah.
and then it makes you more likely to taste something nice.
Makes sense.
So,
That's
yeah.
for like eggs with like the orange yolk. Like half of me is not sure that actually does anything, but it looks just so much better when you have that like nice orange yolk. So like
Yeah.
sure, right? You're just like primed to believe it's a good egg, even though like
Do you like brown eggs for that reason?
no, brown eggs and white eggs will have the same chance of having a nice orange yolk. There's actually companies that now have eggs that are always orange, which is what makes me really wary.
Oh, that's
that
funny as
they're
hell.
just like feeding them orange things to get the orange yolk, but
Yeah.
it's basically the same actual taste.
It's been my experience that, you know, when you get a brown egg, you get a nice orange yolk, but when you get a white egg, you get a nice orange yolk.
Yeah.
It's been my experience that, when you get a brown egg, you get a nice orange yolk, but when you get a white egg, you get a nice orange yolk.
Oh,
you know, we see a very orange yolk typically in the brown eggs that we buy.
So I don't know. I think chickens can give any color egg, if I remember correctly. Not 100%.
Well, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying from personal experience. Like, I think that's when I really started noticing. Like when we get the brown eggs, and we'd see like just this bright orange yolk.
Yeah, and it like looks so much better, and it's delicious. But then like, since they mass produce the orange yolks now, I'm like less and less sure that it's real. I'm
Sure.
like, you know, I'm kind of wary that they're just feeding them something that makes the yolk
Right,
orange, but it's
right.
not actually like a better
Something manipulating it. Yeah.
But it definitely works, right? Because I eat them and I love it.
Cheers.
Cheers, indeed. Oh, but yeah, the discussion of garnishes. So
Yeah.
no, the primary point is to make it look a little better. But then there's also frequently, yeah, maybe I can categorize it in a few other ways. So one, you will get like very strange reasons for garnishes, historical reasons that don't necessarily, like the bitters that are supposed to cover up the egg smell. So there are specific garnishes that mainly are there for a historical reason, not necessarily for some additional flavor reason. But, you know, as you said, you like the bitters, that it bitters up the sweetness a little bit. for
Yeah, I
example.
mean, this is just a bit too sweet for me.
Yeah, it's a sweet drink for you. There is frequently an optional additional flavor that a garnish can give you. So let's say you have like a lime-based drink. You can add a lime wedge, one, to look nice, but two, to give the patron the option of putting more of the citrus flavor in if they want to. So that's, you can kind of just add like
Is
a
that
little
done with
extra.
oranges as well?
That's done with oranges. That's done with limes. It's not. Sometimes it's done with lemons too. But another great example is the
Marshmallow
rind.
cherries, no?
Oh yeah, for sure. Cherries, same thing. You can get that extra cherry sweetness if you want it, or if you don't, you can just take it off. And then finally, maybe the most common is the rind of a lemon or orange, and that can give like a bitter citrusy thing that some people want, some people don't. So you put it on the edge of the glass in a toothpick or something, and a guest can drop it in and add that bitterness or not, depending.
From your bartending days, was there any particular order that stands out? Like if anyone's ordered like a whiskey sour, any particular way that stands out, unique or?
So, you know what's really funny? I learned 99% of the stuff I know about drinks, drinking, booze, all this stuff, not from my bartending days, because I was actually a professional bartender for a very short time, and most people ordered beers. So my actual professional experience is pretty boring. The exciting stuff that I learned and practiced was when I was growing up at my parents' house. I would bartend for like my dad's get-togethers,
Gotcha.
and he had a bunch of colleagues and grad students from all over the world, and they would all bring their country's booze or something and teach me about it. They would bring me a cocktail recipe from their country or whatever. For example, there was this one grad student who was from Brazil that he had, and the national drink of Brazil is the caipirinha, and you should kind of, this is a bad description of it. It tastes very different than what I'm about to say, but you should kind of think of it as a rum margarita. That's loosely what it is.
Okay, that sounds great.
So kind of like what we're doing here.
Yeah, basically
Yeah.
yes. This is the kind of thing that would happen, and that's how I
Nice.
learned most of the stuff I know about booze. So most
Very
of the
cool.
orders that I got were boring. That's the end of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I normally order boring things. Well, it just
You
gives
know I like to challenge.
Out of habit, I think a lot
Well,
of
I
us
mean-
do. You know, we're just like,
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
vodka cranberry is like the best drink.
If you're a moron,
It's a delicious drink. Cranberry.
how can you sit here and say this whiskey sour is too sweet, and you say this vodka
Because
cranberry?
if anyone
is
makes a
my
good
shit?
vodka cranberry, it's less sweet than this.
Hopeless. I think they say, what do they say? They say vodka is the liquor for people who want to be drunk but don't want to drink. That's
Okay.
that's what they say.
that's what they say. Love it.
Put a
All
lot
right.
of vodka, a little bit of cranberry. It's
Awesome.
Very delicious.
Very successful
Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Cheers. Oh.
Not bad. I do hold by this. I need to make you a vodka cranberry.